Tony. I'm Mike. This is week 2 of the Action Bowl.
It's week 2 of the Action Bowl. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson squares up against Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford drew Raiders of the Lost Ark. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson drew Walking Tall. Mike, who do you want to talk about first?
Let's do Walking Tall first.
Let's do Walking Tall first.
This is mine.
It's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson before he was just Dwayne Johnson or just The Rock, I guess, because this is following up like as he's transitioning from wrestling to movie star, right?
Yeah. I don't know if this is actually his first like leading role. I'm not counting that Scorpion King shit because that really doesn't quite count.
Well, I was gonna say
for me,
he
like
was
this is like first where he is front and center through the whole thing.
Well,
like,
there was the Scorpion King with Brendan Fraser.
Right.
And then he had a spin-off movie that was the same character, but it was actually set back in ancient Egypt, and he was the main character. And I don't know which of those came first.
You think it's funny?
It's a little bit funny, yes. You see, I am about to escape while you, on the other hand, are about to die a horrible death for leaving me to die last night.
Johnny Knoxville appears on this because Jackass was all the rage at the time.
Hello, Puddin'.
Yeah, which is shocking because Johnny Knoxville actually does a fairly decent job of acting in this.
I'm going to say that he's more likable than The Rock in this. I actually liked his character because he had a bit more depth.
No. Come on, man. You know I hate cops. You've been sheriff for about 2 minutes. I'm already starting to hate you.
And he wasn't like, oh, I'm a sergeant in the military, and I didn't.
He had more of a backstory. He didn't really have any depth, though. Like, there wasn't any real arc to him, so...
There was no arcs with any of them.
No, there really wasn't. It's pretty much straightforward storyline and plot with this one.
I'm just going to say this. This movie is... Like we have said that some other action movies we've watched, like Triple X, was dumb.
Yeah.
This is stratospherically stupid.
Where'd you learn that, Ray?
Cops.
That's a good show.
I don't think it's that stupid. I mean, it's a remake of the original with Joe Don Baker.
Yeah.
Nashville papers are playing up that big stick of his like he was Sir Lancelot or somebody.
We ought to take Sir Lancelot's big stick and shove it up his ass.
And while it's not the best story in the world, I will absolutely grant you that all day long. It's not like awful. There's some scenes that drag on way too long.
Yeah.
So it does come off uneven at times, but for what it is, which is a number one, like I said, an MTV movie.
Yeah.
Or a WWE movie, it doesn't matter. And with it being The Rock's second or first or whatever role it's in, for what it is, for the budget that it had and the limitations it had, I think it did all right.
The script is really what bothers me.
Okay.
On this film. And I'll tell you, because it starts off like he's coming back. He did 8 years in the military, and he's like literally walking through town.
Yeah.
And the sheriff pulls up and is like, hey, let me give you a ride to town. He's like, no, I don't want any of that.
Let me give you a ride up to your folks.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
No, I insist.
I'll walk.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
It's okay.
I won't take no for an answer. Hey, get in the car.
I'm thinking, why are you starting there? Like literally, you just got back home. You know this guy. You're on a first name basis with it. Wouldn't the correct thing to do would be like, hey, yeah, appreciate it. Sure, that'd be great. Why don't you come on in and say hi to my mom and dad while you're at it? So there's something there, but they never bother to develop it beyond that. And then we have, the introduction of the whole family, which is like straight out of a Lifetime movie.
Hey, Ma! Chris is here! Look at you!
How you doing?
Oh!
Hey, Dad.
Welcome back.
It's like everything is so cheesy. Like, you know, his sister's an EMT, and there's the little, you know, nephew and mom and dad, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't know what alternate reality this shit snapped out of, but the paper mill has closed down, and the paper mill was the biggest employer in the entire
Was it a
area.
paper mill?
Yes. Or is a sawmill, wood mill.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
there you
wood
go,
mill,
yeah.
not a paper mill. But but
This isn't Thunder Mifflin.
naturally, yeah, exactly. Well, naturally though, now the biggest employer is the casino.
Yeah.
Everybody works at the casino. This town sucks so hard they don't even have a Walmart. No.
There's a Home Depot about 15 minutes up the road. And that? Don't ask.
So
There's a Dollar General around the block, though. I'm almost positive of that one.
but all that being said, like we go to the casino for his welcome back party with his buddies, and they get him a stripper, and the stripper girl is like super fine, and then he realizes, oh wait, I know her.
Chris.
Danny.
And then all of a sudden, there's some hardcore pearl clutching going on after he realizes it's fine as long as you don't know the stripper. And I'm going to say I've been in that situation where I was like, hey, I know her. It's actually kind of more hilarious than it is insulting. So.
Well, I didn't take it as like, oh my God, you know, like, oh, how dare you? It's more like, oh shit, this is kind of embarrassing for both of us. Like, oops.
And see, embarrassing, yes. This again, that's that undercooked script. If it was embarrassing, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you saw me like that. I didn't. Yeah, well, when did you start working here? It was a perfect opportunity for them to develop both characters, talk about their relationship, give a little bit of backstory on both of them and what happened with whatever previous relationship that they had. But they refused to go there. Instead, The Rock's got to go outside and realize that the Chief Terrell from Battlestar Galactica is moonlighting as a craps table dealer, and he's crooked.
5 hard 6?
Yes.
I'm in. Hard 6, 5 on hard 6.
You're good. But I saw it. Saw it.
And therefore he must roll the 7. It's the 7, and guess what? The 7 comes up, and what does this lead to? A big, scary, hairy brawl in the middle of the casino. That involves The Rock getting held down on a table and things being done to him.
You're way too deep and ingrained in this fucking thing.
I know.
So
but-
yes, this is a Lifetime Hallmark fucking script. But again, what do you want for the budget that they had? I mean, you can only afford so much. You know, this isn't a big budget movie, so
no, I get it.
you know,
but
so
again,
I could cut slack on some of this shit. Now it's going to reflect in the scores. Just know this, that there's a penalty to be paid for the lack of whatever.
Absolutely. But I'm going to say that, like, at the end of the day, the biggest problems with this movie, for me, come down to the fact that like, literally, like, the court case is like dumb as hell. It's like you could tell that whoever wrote that had no understanding of law. And I realize that it's supposed to be a corrupt town and that the fix is in from the word go.
I have no further questions.
Mr. Crow, you may present your client's case.
You're fired.
But the fact that he wins the case by ripping open his shirt and showing off his scars and then announcing, I'm going to run for sheriff, and then they immediately cut to him showing up at the sheriff's office going,
Well, you won the election. Congratulations.
You're all fired.
again, opportunity to flesh it out wouldn't have cost him anything except for, I don't know, some dialogue and a little bit of runtime, and it would have made the film better. And I guess the other thing is like the big bad guy in town who bought the, he owned the mill and he shut it down and he opened up the casino, and now it's actually his meth lab that he has back there. That whole, like, shoot 'em up with the sheriff's office and like, just, there's so many stupid scenes in here that you can just hear the director going, what would be cool?
Yeah.
when they take the truck apart, you could tell they were trying way too hard for that to be cool. When they shoot up the sheriff's station, they were trying way too hard for that to be cool. When they have the big fight at the closed down mill, they were trying way too hard to be cool. And at the end, that oversaturation of attempting to be cool is what makes this really uncool.
Yeah, there with a few editing choices, this would have been a better movie. Editing down that shootout scene at the sheriff's office definitely would have helped. Editing down the disassembly of the one dude's truck would have helped. Cutting down the the sequence at the end definitely would have helped. And like you said, showing the election, at least a little something there would have been nice. But I mean, again, it's not a great movie, but it's not the worst thing in the world either. I'm not gonna go beat up on this thing, because it is what it is. It's a very average to middling movie with a very average middling plot, with a very average middling anything.
Yeah, with an up and coming star that was unproven box office wise at that point. I get that. Now I will say this: where this movie does shine is the fight sequences look brutal.
Yes.
So it's very obvious that The Rock's background in wrestling helped sell those slugfests. So that
but
is
not only him, but all the other guys too. Like all the stunt work in this is very, very well done. Those fights, like you said, are very brutal, very convincing. The only thing that isn't quite so convincing is the makeup. So the scars on his chest look very,
Halloween, spirit of Halloween makeup.
Those weren't so well done. So
this is the action ball, and I know that you're looking at me. You have that look that says, "All right, I'm done talking about this damn movie. Let's get to the scores."
Yes.
So let's get to the scores.
So again, to me, it's very average, and for me, it's actually a little bit above average. There's a little bit more meat on this plot than kind of meets the eye. It's a 6 for me. The style is shot very well. What's on there looks pretty good, especially for what this is. It's a 6, and I was actually entertained by this. I didn't have to stop it. I didn't have to pause it. And as a matter of fact, I was actually enjoying the action quite a bit, except for like those spots where it ran a little bit too long.
Yeah.
I gave that a 7, so it's a total of 19 for me.
Okay. Oh well. We're gonna have some variation here.
Oh yeah. Yes we are. Yes we are. I'm predicting a 12 from you. Let's see.
For the plot, I gave it a 3 because again, going back and watching the original Joe Don Baker film, Walking Tall. It's smart. It's about a corrupt town. And Joe Don Baker is not an action star, but he sells the shit out of that movie.
Oh well, he's like the quintessential everyman.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And that's kind
of a failing here. Is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is not an everyman. No matter how hard you try, he's still Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The only thing that's missing was a fucking eyebrow and a fucking elbow.
So for the plot, I gave this a 3.
Fair enough.
For the style, I gave it a 6. You're right. This definitely looks more expensive than its budget. The action sequences are well done. The problem is that they're just stringing the plot together to get to the next action sequence instead of using them to kind of, set it up.
Sure.
So for the entertainment, I gave this a 2. You're not far off. My score was an 11 on this. So that's our scores for Walking Tall. Coming up next, Harrison Ford, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Stay tuned.
I don't deny anything that was said here today.
Does that mean you're changing your plea to guilty?
I'm not guilty of anything.
So Harrison Ford drew Raiders of the Lost Ark. We're not even going to bother recapping the film because if you haven't seen this movie, what rock have you been living underneath?
Or you're under the age of 35.
Possibly.
And that's the only excuse you got. If you're over 35, you haven't seen this movie, shame. Anyways, go ahead.
Go. No. I was actually happy to sit back and let you drive on this one.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is like when Steven Spielberg practically couldn't do any wrong, as well as George Lucas. I mean, those guys were like at the crest.
Top of their game.
Yeah, top of their game.
And Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote the screenplay for this, because let's be honest, unlike the later Raiders films, unlike the later Indiana Jones films, this movie is incredibly smart. It has every character that's in it, regardless of if it's Indiana Jones or Marion or Belloc or the Nazi officer, they all have real texture to them. They feel lived in as people, not one off, oh yeah, this guy's just here for this one scene, so let's just, move on.
If they knew we were here, they would have killed us already.
Why do you forget yourself? What is this? Where did this animal come from?
Yeah.
I love that about this, and it's the one thing that the sequels failed to bring to the table. They were so busy trying to reference the original Raiders of the Lost Ark that they forgot all the characters that they were introducing could use a little bit of depth to make them feel a bit more real.
So not only is it the characters, but it's also the attention to detail with the story and the settings and the things they got to go through to make all this stuff happen. Like, because at one point you got, Belloc.
We call him Balosh. Belloc.
They're digging on one side because they have one side of the medallion, but the other side of the medallion didn't have the extra information, which the one that Indy does. So they knew exactly to make the staff so much high, -1 for who the fuck was it?
It is plus take back one Kadant to honor the Hebrew god whose ark this is.
And take back one Kadam to honor the Hebrew god whose ark this is.
This is the exact line of dialogue that's on there. I've only seen it a couple times. But anyway, you're absolutely correct. And I'm also going to say this. This is what separates the good movies from the great movies, in that this is most definitely an action film. This is high action. No two ways about it. But everything that happens leads you organically to the next action sequence.
Meet me at Omar's. Be ready for me. I'm going after that truck. Oh. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
None of it feels shoehorned in. None of it feels like, oh, well, we need a big set piece here. Even like down to the fight with the plane. They're going to fly the Ark out of there. All right, so I'm going to go and try and stop the plane. And the fist fight with the mechanic, which again, you get that depth of his character. You see him, he has no dialogue, except for, come here, and putting his hands up.
Hey, turn up. Come here. Come here. Come, Kim.
But you get the vibe that this is what this guy lives for, a good street brawl. And hey, I just saw you whip that other dude's ass. I want to give you a go now too.
Oh yeah, you can definitely tell he's a scrapper. Yeah, he's looking for a scrap. This poor bastard has been dying for a good fight for probably the whole damn war. He hasn't got to beat up on a single fucking Allied soldier ever.
So I appreciate that. The other thing that I love is that we get to see the characters tested to their limits, because there's that scene where Belloc has Marion in the Ark and they're getting ready to perform the ceremony, and Indy pops up and he's got the rocket launcher and he says,
I'm gonna blow up the Ark, Renee.
And Renee's like, all right, you know what? You want to blow it up? Here it is. Go on, do it.
Okay, Jones. You win. Blow it up. Zurück! Zurück!
Yeah,
I'm calling your bluff.
Yeah, you want to see this open just as much as I do.
Exactly.
And he's fucking right. And that's the great thing. Belloc is such a great, I wouldn't exactly call, he's a villain, but he's more like a rival.
Yeah, he's more of a rival and not a nemesis. He's not nefarious. He's he's actually just taking advantage of the resources that the Germans give him so that he can beat Indy to it, because Indy always seems to get there first, but Belloc always seems to be able to outsmart him out of what he's gotten.
Too bad the Jovitos don't know you the way I do, Belloc.
Yes, too bad. You could won them.
Yeah.
So
his timing is impeccable. Like you say, he knows how to use the resources that he has available, because in the end, he does beat Indy. It's just the Ark beats him at the very end.
Yes.
Because Indy does not win. Indy does not win. The Ark, good, triumphs over evil in the end in that regard. So. And that's something you don't get in every other movie from here, is that Indy, isn't bested as often in the sequels as he is in this one, because Indy is bested like practically every turn.
I was going to say, like, legitimately, the fact that he doesn't win until the very end makes him an infinitely more interesting character because he keeps going, even though, and he gets close, but he always seems to miss it somehow. So
that's a great thing, and this is a wrestling reference for a lot of you people out there if you watch wrestling or not. It's always better to have the good guy chase the bad guy, the chase after the belt, the chase after the title. That is infinitely more interesting, and that's exactly what you get here. You get Indy chasing and chasing and chasing.
Yes.
And yeah, it's so much more compelling.
It's a classic for a reason, kids. That's what we got on this one. So
now I got one sticking point with this movie, and I never really noticed it. Well, I probably noticed it, but like this time it really stuck in my craw on this one, where they're on the merchant ship. Marion and Indy, they get stopped by the German U-boat. They grab Marion. Indy dives off the boat, gets on top of the sub, and he's like scrambling around trying to find a way into the sub.
I found him. Where? There.
I don't think he actually gets in there. At least I don't remember seeing that. And so he's effectively traveling for at least a day, maybe more, on top of the sub. And lucky for him, the sub, I guess, doesn't submerge, obviously. But yes, somehow, too, once they get to the island that they're going to, Indy's ahead of the sub. He's already in the base as the sub is pulling in.
Erste Arbeitsgruppe antreten zum Anlegemanöver. Bereiten Sie die Gefangenen vor zum Departieren. Sicherheitsgruppe zum Becken.
That's some bullshit.
If I'm not mistaken, there is a single shot of Indy inside the submarine.
Doesn't explain how he jumped off the sub and swam ahead of the submarine into the base.
I don't disagree there, but you know he's got long legs. He can kick it like Aquaman.
I guess so, but that's some bullshit. But that's like the only nitpick I have in a otherwise damn near flawless movie.
Pretty much. Well, let's just end. let's just get to the scoring on this one, shall we?
Plots an 8. I mean, it's very rare for me to give out a 10, so this is probably almost as perfect as a story as you're going to get.
Yeah.
All day long, 8. Style is an 8. It's, again, Steven Spielberg at his height. All the sets are great. Everything is shot beautifully. Lens flares. The spirits floating around it, that's great. That's an 8. Entertainment is a 10 all day, every day, from here to the end of time.
I can't.
So that's
I was going to say, so your total score is
26.
26. So I can't say I disagree with you because for the plot, I gave it an 8 because it is a spectacularly good script, realized really well. For the style, I gave it an 8. Again, every action sequence feels organic. These characters feel lived in. It's absolutely a captivating watch, whether or not you give a shit about science fiction or supernatural or anything like that at all. It's almost impossible to walk past this film when it's on anywhere. And for the entertainment, I gave it a 10.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
That gives us a 26 on that one. So coming up next, our scoring. We'll figure out who the winner and the loser is. And who's going in the bowl of shame and who's sticking around. Stay tuned. Harrison Ford versus Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Walking Tall. You gave it a 19. I gave it an 11, so that gives us an average score of 15.
Perfectly average.
Right down the middle movie. Raiders of the Lost Ark. You gave it a 26. I gave it a 26, so that gives us an average of 26. Anything you'd like to say for Dwayne before he goes into the bowl of shame?
Yeah, nobody's smelling what you're cooking anymore.
Damn Skippy. No.
I'm still rolling, so.
That kitchen be stinking.
We find the defendant, Chris Vaughn, guilty.
So that's the results for week 2 of the Action Bowl. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson into the Action Bowl of Shane. Harrison Ford moving on into the second round of this. Coming up next, our drawing for Steve McQueen versus Michelle Yeoh. Stay tuned.
So week 3 has Michelle Yeoh going up against Steve McQueen. I will be drawing for Mr. McQueen. Tony will be drawing for Miss Yeoh. And here we go. And let's see here. Mr. McQueen will be represented by The Great Escape.
Oh.
I have been pulling every freaking classic.
Yeah, you really have. You are pulling out the big guns. Like you have the magic touch this week. So,
I mean, it's been a hot minute since I've seen The Great Escape. It is a damn fine film. I mean,
pretty much legendary.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
it's one of those films from the 60s that is still talked about and relevant today. So, I mean, let's put it like this. We have a quality lineup so far for all these films that we're drawing, with maybe a couple of exceptions.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and also, too, I mean, The Great Escape was parodied by, well, not parodied, but actually in Tarantino's last film where it shows, what's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio's character auditioning for it.
Yeah. So
it's a fun little clip. I actually like that movie. I like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, it's a good film.
Well,
all right.
Let's find out what Michelle Yeoh is bringing to the game. I'm rooting for Michelle Yeoh. I really am. I'm a fan of hers. I'm gonna go with. I have it right there. All right. Michelle Yeoh is going to be represented by the Magnificent Warriors.
Is this a ripoff of the Magnificent Seven?
I don't know.
I
don't know. I know that it is a kung fu film. I know that it is from back in her Hong Kong days, and that's really about all I know. Which I'm kind of excited about, because this is how we find a lot of hidden gems, is going through these catalogs and watching these films that we have no idea what they are. Look, the IMDb page said it had action in it. Into the Action Bowl it went. So.
That's the amount of research we do for you guys, because we love you. IMDb, Wikipedia, anything beyond that, forget it.
Absolutely. We save you a lot of reading time. So that is it for week 3. Steve McQueen going up against Michelle Yeoh. Stay tuned.
All right, so week 3 has Steve McQueen with The Great Escape versus Michelle Yeoh and the Magnificent Warriors.
We will catch you next time.